Can the Mariners keep the momentum going heading into the All-Star break? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the series analysis episode of the Seattle Baseline Podcast. My name is Alex Hong, and I'm running solo here today. Um, both me and Julian are actually kind of busy right now because he's in Japan, I'm in Chicago, and we're both from Seattle. So, it's kind of a situation like that, but we're still going to put out an episode for you guys. So let's just head right into it. Let's talk about what happened in that Blue Jay series. It's a revenge from the ALCS from last year, and these two teams look honestly pretty different than they did last year, especially with the Blue Jays. But the Mariners got it done, lost the first game, won the second and the third, so ended up winning the series, which is nice. They went back-to-back series, which doesn't happen too often for this team. So we gotta take what we can get, right? And this series was really interesting. So with the first game, right, the Mariners offense did absolutely nothing, right? Castillo had a pretty good start, in my opinion. He had 6 innings, 2 runs, gave us some hits here and there, but it wasn't too bad, right? For Luis Castillo, that's actually pretty good. Like, I'm very happy with what he did, but the offense just wasn't getting it going. Randy, that was probably like the worst like at bat I've ever seen, where he lost two challenges immediately. So, that was really bad. But Randy, the next game, decided to hit a grand slam, and that he had an amazing series for the rest of this game. So, and he got announced that he would be the Mariners All-Star. So with Randy, you kind of just have to take what you can get with this guy. Obviously, there's frustrating moments like last year, even with the defense, and then sometimes, with these challenges, it's just getting kind of ridiculous. But then, he's been our best offensive player. There's a reason why he was our All-Star this year. So I think you just got to take what you can get with Randy, right? Because, I mean, if we don't have Randy, then we're definitely a way worse team than we are, right? He is the guy who consistently produces on offense. So I know a lot of people probably frustrated with him on that, but after he hit the grand slam and he got like 3 hits in the second game. After even that second game, everyone was probably pretty happy with him. So I don't know. That's kind of a player where you gotta just kind of take what you can get. And we cannot pass the second game without talking about Logan Gilbert. He has really turned it on since the first like portion of the season, right? He went 7 and a third, gave up only 1 hit, no runs. Like this is an insane start. We only used 2 pitchers that game, and obviously the offense exploded as well. We won 11-0, right? That was a domination game. Like it was basically the opposite of the first game, right? So really happy what we saw there. They moved Canzone up in the lineup, which I think is a good decision. And, he hit the home run. So good on that. Cal Raleigh hit another home run in that game. That game, everything was just working for us. So I really loved what I saw there, because this team, it's been struggling a little bit, right? We got some injuries, right? Julio's not even playing right now. So we kind of have to deal with some stuff like that, but the team was playing well. Now heading into the third game, right? Hancock had an unbelievable start, 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs. It's just defined as a pitching domination, right? And this is something that I feel like never happened last year and happened every single time in 2020, 2024. So it's kind of a thing where I analyze it and I'm like, yeah, so it looks like the Mariners, sometimes their offense is going to explode, sometimes their pitching is going to explode in the good way. And, sometimes they'll line up, sometimes it won't. And we just kind of have to live with the results, I think, because when the Mariners pitching does line up, it creates situations where, okay, like they're on, right? Our players are very talented to where they easily can produce performances like 1 run or 0 runs over 7 innings. And in that game, those type of games, it really sets us up to win. And if that doesn't happen, our offense still is able to um take care of things and do well. Now, that wasn't really the case in this series because in this series it was the pitching that dominated. The offense only had to do so much, right? And it didn't do anything in the first game, so they have to do at least something. But that was insane, right? The Blue Jays, we shut them out in the second and third game. That was really, really impressive to see there. Right. So, and we won that third game. Mitch Garver had that crazy home run, the 2-run homer. Really happy for him with Garver, right? And, it's just nice to see the team, it looks like they solved some of the problems that they've been struggling with in the past, where they can't get things going, they can't chain stuff together, but like in the second game, we relied a lot on the home run as we usually do. But on the third game, we got the home run, but then we got some hits where I chained some runs. And that wasn't really happening in the previous few series where we were really struggling. So it was really good to see there. So yeah, not much bad to say about this series. You could honestly, first game, offense struggles that happen sometimes, but then they really dominated the second and third game. So really good to see. This Blue Jays team isn't as good as they were last year. They've had some injury problems as well, but we did took care of business is what I like to see. Okay, so I think it's time to move on to the Marlins. This is gonna be a little shorter episode, by the way, for you guys. And the Marlins, when we think of the Marlins, we think of a team usually last year, not very good. I mean, they're not a terrible like the White Sox were last year, but they were, not a very good team. But this year, they've been very good. And you might think, oh, maybe, Sandy Alcantara, he's been back from his Cy Young year. That's actually not the case. Max Meyer, who we're against in the first game, he's having an unbelievable year. He has a 2.53 ERA, and he's been really dominating for the Marlins. He's been a good ace for them, and that's really, really helped them out. Because Max Meyer last year, he was kind of bad. He had like a little under a 5 ERA. So this kind of came out of nowhere. And I guess he didn't play too much last year, but this is really good to see for him. So good for him. Another guy I want to talk about is Otto Lopez. He was a guy who was very mediocre last year. He was actually probably below average. This year, he has an 896 OPS. It's heavily fueled by his 346 batting average, which is insane. 520 slug. Now, he doesn't walk very much at all. His on base is 376. But when you're hitting that much, it doesn't really matter if you're getting on base that much more. This is a very good player this year. And Xavier Edwards, he's also been pretty good. Liam Hicks, I think he's mostly their DH. He's been pretty solid as well. They got some solid offensive pieces, which is a lot different than last year. And they kind of had a slow start to the season as well, but they went 20 and 6 in June with a 53 run differential in the positive. So they were really hot coming into July. So, and it's mostly due to their insane offensive production. Their pitching is pretty good. I talked about Max Meyer. Outside of that, not too much. Sandy Alcantara really struggling. That's pretty disappointing because I actually liked him as a player, especially after his Cy Young year, but things might just not be working out. They got a few bullpen pieces like John King, he's pretty good, but this pitching staff, ours is better, definitely better than these guys. And with the offense, I'd say they've probably had the better year. The Mariners have really sparks in terms of offense. It's good and then it's really bad. I think they're a little more consistent, especially as of recently. So we just gotta outduel them in this case. And we on our pitching side, we gotta do our best, right? Because if I think the strength of the team right now at the current moment, we don't have Julio right now, for example, still should rely on the pitching staff and we can control them on the pitching, like on our pitching, control their offense, and then produce more offense than them just a little bit. We don't have to produce an insane offense, right? Because that's not something that our offense is usually doing. Then I think that can lead us to the series win. So, right, we have Brian Wu pitching on the first game, then followed by George Kirby, Bryce Miller, very likely. So, I won't talk about the piggyback because I talk about it all the time, but it looks like we're just stopping that for now and just going to the 6-man rotation. So that's just how it's going to be. I kind of like seeing that because the pitching has been playing well, so gotta let them going, right? Let's at least keep that going, and then we can reassess after the All-Star break if any trades or something happen. So good to see on that part, right? Um, it's pretty important because Brian Wu, I want to mention him real quick. He's going to be on the road in the first game, and that's going to be a struggle. That could be a struggle because Brian Wu has been amazing at home and terrible on the road, like really, really terrible on the road. So, I'm not sure how much is going to change in this start. It might have to change after the All-Star break, but his approach needs to be not because his fastball isn't very fast, but he's getting crushed by the fastball, right? And we talked about how he's really bad on the stretch in previous episodes. I kind of want him to try to, rely a little more on the off speed and not as much on the fastball. His fastball is getting high contact and it's getting, it's not really too much of a home run problem. They're just getting good contact on the fastball away. And when you're outside of T-Mobile Park, you're going to have an increased chance of home runs anyways due to those hard hits. So that's something we need to watch for. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that first game goes with Brian Wu, because we cannot have a pitcher that's only capable of hitting, like pitching on the road versus at home, like only capable of pitching at T-Mobile Park and not on the road. And this wasn't an issue for him last year. So that's something I really want to look forward to in this series. But hopefully we can get it done. The Marlins team is a good team this year. So it's not going to be easy for sure. They're actually third in their division, and they have a 49-42 record, which is pretty insane. That goes to show how bad the Mariners division is because the Mariners are 47-44, and they're first in the division. So, yeah, and no one else in our division is above 500. So it's kind of funny how it ends up like that. But yeah, we got two more series before the All-Star break. That's a pretty good run. We're over halfway into the year. And the Mariners at this time last year, remember, were not actually dominating. They got really hot heading into the second half of the year. So hopefully this can also be, especially with the last two series, can be a trend for the Mariners to where they turn out to be a lot better than they were at the start of the year. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our beautiful face on YouTube. Be sure to check out our Instagram. As always, go Mariners.